Mom slammed the binder onto the table, thick, white, dripping with ribbon samples. "We'll need your card for the deposits," she said, like she was asking for salt. Dad didn't look at me, just tapped the total at the bottom of the page. 48,000. My sister grinned like this was all pre-approved. Like I had no agency, no boundaries, no history. I felt the air leave the room, not in panic, but in a strange, eerie calm. They had absolutely no idea what was coming. So I leaned back, folded my hands, and said quietly, "Before we talk about payments, let's talk about debt." Their faces faltered, and that's where everything began to unravel. I was 17 when they told me I was on my own. No college fund, no FAFSA help, no co-signing. "Figure it out," Dad said. "That's adulthood." Meanwhile, they took my sister on campus tours, bought her dorm bedding months in advance, paid her textbooks in full, like it was some sacred duty. When I asked why things were different for me, Mom shrugged. "She needs more support. You're independent." That word, independent, became their excuse for every abandonment. Independent meant 2 jobs during school. Independent meant eating peanut butter for dinner. Independent meant walking 3 miles because the car needed to be used by someone else. Independent meant invisible. But I managed. I graduated. I got promoted. I built a life they never asked about. Now, years later, they treated my bank account like a vending machine. Press a button, get luxury. And they truly believed I'd say yes. My sister's wedding became their new religion. Gold accents, imported flowers, a venue that required valet parking for valet parking. Every conversation started with money, ended with money, and hovered in the air until I breathed money. "You make good money," Mom said. "It's tradition the successful sibling helps," Dad added. "You owe it to the family," my sister whispered, her voice sugary and venomous. Oh, that was the word that caught fire in my chest. Because if anyone owed anything, it wasn't me, it was them. For years of silence, for years of choosing the easy child over the resilient one, for years of pretending fairness was optional. But I didn't react. I didn't argue. I let them build their expectations like a tower made of glass. And I waited for the right moment to let gravity do the rest. My shift wasn't loud. It wasn't dramatic. It was a quiet, surgical withdrawal. I attended dress fittings. I nodded during menu tastings. I let them believe I was compliant, cooperative, captured. They mistook my silence for submission. What they didn't see was the folder in my bag. Printed emails, screenshots, financial records. Every message from college: "Sorry, we can't help. You're on your own. Don't expect support." Every debt notice, every late fee, every proof of the years they watched me drown and called it character building. I wasn't gathering ammunition, I was gathering truth. And truth, in the right hands, is a blade. So when they gathered around the dining table with that wedding binder demanding $48,000, it was almost merciful. For me, not for them. I flipped open my folder and placed a single sheet on the table. A copy of the FAFSA form I filled out at 17, the one where both parents refused to provide their financial info. Dad blinked. Mom frowned. My sister looked confused. "What's this supposed to mean?" Dad snapped. I kept my tone even. "Your signature was required. You refused." Mom crossed her arms. "That was years ago." I nodded. "And this," I said, placing another page, "is the email where I asked for help with books." Dad's jaw tightened. "And this is your response." I slid forward the printed text. "We aren't paying for something you chose. Handle it yourself." Silence gripped the room like a hand around a throat. My sister whispered, "Okay, but why bring this up now?" I finally looked at her, really looked at her, because she had never carried what I carried, never starved to stretch tuition, never sat alone in the financial aid office begging for options. Because, I said, you're asking me to finance luxury when you refuse to help me survive. I pulled out the last paper, a printed bank transfer confirmation, the one that showed I had already spent the money. Not on them, not on the wedding, on a loan payment, my loan payment. I set it down gently. This is where the $48,000 went. Dad's voice cracked. You spent our wedding money? It was never yours, I said calmly. It was mine, and I used it to pay off the debt you forced me into. Mom gasped. My sister muttered a stunned curse. Dad pushed back from the table like he was trying to escape the truth printed inches from his hands. I continued, still soft, still lethal. I won't finance a wedding I wasn't invited to participate in as a daughter. And I won't give more to a family who watched me drown and complained I struggled to swim. No yelling, no slamming. Just precision, the kind that devastates without noise. My sister stormed out first. Mom followed, muttering about disrespect. Dad stayed seated, small suddenly, like a man watching his own legacy crumble. After everything we've done, he whispered. I tilted my head. Exactly. After everything. I stood, gathered my folder, and walked toward the door. At the threshold, I turned back one last time. Your wedding will be beautiful, I said, but it will be funded by the family you chose, not the one you ignored. I left before he could respond. The night air hit me like freedom. It wasn't revenge, not really. It was reclamation. The moment I stopped being their backup plan and became my own priority. As I drove away, one final thought settled quietly in my chest. Some debts aren't paid in money. Some are paid in silence, distance, and finally, peace.